with infinite complacence, people went to and fro over the earth about their little affairs, serene in the assurance of their dominion over this small, spinning fragment of solar driftwood, which by chance or design man has inherited out of the dark mystery of time and space.
Get ready for Anomacon 2025. It's a free virtual conference live streaming on September 20th on YouTube, Twitch, X, and Facebook. Created by Ryan Sprague of the Somewhere in the Skies podcast, Anomicon unites unique voices from academia, science, and entertainment. Join us for discussions on UFOs, the paranormal, cryptids, conspiracy theories, and all things anomalous. Hear from amazing speakers like actor Michael Ian Black, astronomer Dr. Beatrice Villarreal, marine biologist Shiana Steingass, UFO researchers Peter Robbins and Christina Gomez, and so many more. Plus, our master of ceremonies, podcast legend Jim Harold, will guide us through the day. Anomicon kicks off at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and runs all day and night. Subscribe to the Somewhere in the Skies YouTube channel or visit anomacon.com to learn more. Once again, that's anomacon.com. Anomacon, getting to the heart of life's mysteries, one discussion at a time.
On this episode of Into the Fray, I welcome Bryan on with me. He sent me, as I like to say, and I say this for a reason, a lovely bullet point list, and it helps jog memories, and, you know, it sometimes timelines get a little tighter and cleaner, and things come to mind as people are making these, and it makes me a beautiful map of where the conversation will be going. So thanks for doing that, Bryan, and welcome on the show.
Thank you so much, Shannon. And I appreciate bullet points and bullet lists, kind of the way my brain works. So yeah, absolutely.
And I know that we are going to start when you are younger, and if you need to set up where we need to go before you officially start some of these strange experiences when you were a child, any family history, anything that you think is pertinent, you can go right ahead.
Awesome. Thank you, Shannon. And so so as a child, most of these take place in West Alabama. There's a couple of them. There's one of them in particular that takes place in outside of London. Um, that was more of a paranormal, happened later after I got back home. But yeah, so most of the stuff as a kid takes place in West Alabama. And then as I get older and stuff, I'll give the other location or regions of the country. Just a couple of quick things. I remember as a kid, just kind of growing up, my sleepwalking a lot. I don't know what this has to do with anymore as an adult, but as a kid, I just remember um, sometimes stories of my mom or my dad will tell me that they saw me walking around the den, supposedly sound asleep. I have a vivid memory of one night waking up in the middle of the front yard, just kind of looking up at something. I don't know what it was, but just kind of looking up and then wondering, what am I doing in the front yard? And I walked back up in the front door and went back to bed. Like about 2 nights later or 2 days later, two of my friends were walking around the block and we were talking. And to this day, I still think they were just kidding around with me. But they swore they saw like some type of UFO near my house that night. The same night that I woke up in the middle of the front yard, which is always just kind of weird to me, but never really put two and two together. But yeah, I was a huge sleepwalker. My friends' parents would have to put baby gates up in their house to make sure I didn't walk down the stairs and hurt myself. But yeah, just one of those weird late nights. I would find myself trying to walk around the block at night, even as a kid sneaking out of the house. As a teenager, it's one thing, but not as a 10-year-old boy growing up in kind of a country town. Yeah, that is kind of on the weird side.
Now, what you and your friends had you guys prior to them saying, "Oh, Brian, we saw a craft near your house." Was
Hmm.
that a thing that you guys talked about? Was UFOs? Are you into that kind of stuff?
I've always been into UFOs, science fiction, that kind of stuff. But as like, no, those two friends, no, we never really talked about it. So it was definitely odd that they pointed that out, honestly.
Yeah, because when you mention that in your bullet point list, you say, "Well, maybe they were just fooling about with me." But if you guys hadn't really brought that up much, then maybe they really did see that.
Yeah, and they, I mean, talking it out loud. Yeah, they may have. One of my other friends, yeah, he and I watch Doctor Who every week, but that wasn't who told me this. This was just two other friends, and they were like, "Yeah, we saw this big flying saucer like over your house, man. It was really weird and scared us." And I was like, "Holy crap!"
I mean, the sleep,
They really might have.
yeah, the sleepwalking thing really, I mean, that's a huge trope that goes along with abductions and UFO sightings, and heck, even in Dark
Hmm.
Skies, the father has a whole scene where he's standing out in the yard, right? And that's a horrifying scene.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yes,
you
it
were
is.
out in the yard and you just came to yourself. Nobody came out to get you.
No, no, I just kind of came to and was like, "What am I doing on the front yard?" You know?
Do you have any
Um,
sense of when you went to bed to when you came to in the yard, about how much time had passed? I know it's just a long time ago and everything, but do you remember having a sense of
um,
how long?
no, probably went to bed around like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. And this would have been probably waking up at like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Mm. Did you find that
And
things would happen around and not to jump ahead to other stories if this includes it, for now it can just be a yes or a no, but did you find that things would happen around 3 o'clock in the morning?
yeah,
Mm.
yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember there were like circular spots in the front yard where nothing ever grew.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember taking pictures, but I could go back to mom and dad's house right now and point out these two or three little patches in the front yard that are always dry spots, so to speak.
Was that, because some people, I mean, anyone that has grass, you try to take care of it,
Yeah.
and it's a point of pride for some people more than others. But do you
Hmm.
recall your parents ever going, "Gosh, why won't things just grow right there?" Or your dad trying to put extra Miracle Grow or whatever,
Yeah.
down?
Um, I mean, not yeah. I mean, he wasn't religious about the yard, but
Yeah.
it was like, let me throw some mirror. He would. I know he would definitely put Miracle Grow out there occasionally, and just like grass seed, just see what happens.
What about neighbors' lawns? Did they have similar markings at all? Do you remember?
I don't think so. Not that I can recall.
Interesting.
Hmm. Yeah, and it was and grow. I remember my dad giving me the book Chariot of the Gods that he had bought like when it first came out, and he just thought that was such a cool book. And I'm like, 10, 11 years old when he showed it to me. I thought it was really cool.
Did you start to read that? Did it jog any weird memories? Because I'm assuming that when we're talking about you as a child sleepwalking, what age are we talking about when the sleepwalking was at its peak?
Oh, probably like anywhere from what I can recall would be from like 7 to 12.
Okay. So then when you got that Chariot of the Gods book, do you remember reading it and anything striking you?
Nothing really striking me, other than just kind of just reading it,
Just
and reading
interesting.
it kind
Yeah.
of as a yeah, as an interesting. Wow, this is pretty cool. So because I was always into mythology. As a kid, I remember loving the Greek and the Roman mythology, and Thor and the Norse gods and stuff. So, reading it kind of from that lens, I thought was really cool.
And cool that your dad gave you that. That's cool dad right there.
Oh yeah, yeah. Thank you. I think so.
Yeah, it really.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he and I were the ones who would he was my Star Trek and Star Wars watching partner. You know, taking us, he would take me and my friends to all the Star Wars movies, Star Trek movies, all the good '80s action movies and everything.
Was the start of putting up the baby gates after you? Did you tell them that you ended up in the lawn to where they go, oh, well, gosh, we don't want you wandering out the front door and around the neighborhood, Bryan?
Yeah, probably so. Probably so. I think after that experience, I think was when my mom or my dad would be one to just make sure to keep an eye out.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
would
let's
imagine
make sure
so.
Brian's not. Yeah, let's make sure Brian's not roaming the hall.
I mean,
You know, that
would
kind
you get up and, because some people, they sleep, eat, which I'm sure a lot of us would love to blame a certain weight gains on, we're like, oh, I'm a sleep
Oh,
eater.
that's
I
got to
can't
be
help
it now.
it.
Yeah, that's
Would you,
definitely me now.
so you would, yeah, amen to that. I'm like, that's what I do. I sleep eat. But if you, I mean, if this, would it have, okay, this is where I'm going. Did it have a peak, or was it just between 7 and 12? It was just once a week, or was it, oh my gosh, Bryan is moving about the house every single night. So baby gate, boom. And then you were kind
Yeah.
of cordoned to your room.
Yeah, no, it was just probably like once a week, once every couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
They would just notice, hey, come here, let's turn you back around, kind of a thing. Yeah, but there were a couple of friends who I would spend weekends with in town, but they had a really nice three-story house in the middle of in the middle of nowhere. Like they lived on like probably 15 acres. And so this was in the country. Yeah, they had those wrought iron they had like a wrought iron staircase that went down to the basement. And so yeah, they were the ones that were like, no, we're gonna put this baby gate up. We are not gonna wake up to him falling down the stairs.
Mm.
You know.
So it didn't
But
matter where you were, you tended to do it.
mhm.
And I'm sorry to hammer so
Which
much on this one
no,
point,
you're
but
good.
and it could just be everyone's going, my goodness, you're camping on the sleepwalking, but it might come in handy later to have some of this information. So just we'll see
No,
where
it is.
my process
It is.
goes. But yeah.
Yeah. No, you're good. You're good. So moving on, I remember one night, probably in that 7 to 10-year-old range. I was about six actually. My dad was a choral music teacher, taught choral music in high school, and my mother was a English teacher. But so I grew up, hanging out with them especially with my dad, because as a choir teacher, you tend to spend a lot of time, in school, after hours and rehearsals and stuff. And so the high school was kind of like one of my mini playgrounds as a kid. Never, and I would run the halls at night. Of course, now if any of my former teachers are hearing this, hey, sorry about that. But yeah, so he would be having rehearsal or whatever when I was a kid, and I think I'd mentioned earlier, I could not be at home by myself. It was a phobia as a child. I've grown out of that, but as a child, I just hated being home by myself. It was completely irrational. Nothing that I can recall ever happened. But so he would always bring me to school with him whenever he was doing, rehearsals after hours and late at night or whatever. And I remember vividly, just roaming the halls at my house at their school. And I just remember seeing something. I was just kind of walking down towards the end of the school, down one of the hallways, and I remember seeing something that looked like an evil Santa Claus. Not like not, and it wasn't like a door decoration. I mean, it was like a legit figure that looked, I would describe it as an evil Santa Claus. Even, yeah. And I flipped out and hauled ass all the way back up. And I think I probably told my dad what I saw, and he was like, all right, well, just stay up here. Santa is not roaming the halls. You're fine, but just stay up here and don't go roaming the halls. But even to this day, I still remember that as a scare the crap out of me.
I mean, you're not the only one to see Santa. I've had other folks on, not many, but that have seen Santa. It's not always in a bad light, but
Hmm.
I seem to recall somebody that had a untowards sighting where they thought, what in the actual heck is this thing? And it makes you wonder
Yeah.
if it's just something parading as something else, of course, and doing a poor job of it, because usually Santa's supposed to be rosy cheeked and smiling and you're happy to see Santa
Yeah.
Claus.
Exactly.
So this
And
this one isn't good.
no, and that was a nope. That was I'm noping out of here. I didn't, and I had never heard of Krampus. I mean, I was like 6 years old. Mom and dad didn't read Krampus to me at 6, so I didn't think that was it.
I forget the movie or do you remember that Santa Claus that he was
Yes.
with the axe
Yeah.
and he was horrible looking?
Hmm.
That's what made
Oh
me
God, it
think
was
of.
awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
See,
Gotcha.
and I like that people include the one-offs because sometimes the
Hmm.
one-offs, who knows what they are, but they might jog other
Yeah.
people's memories, and sometimes it can tie in with other people listening in, and they're like, "Oh, did you think about this? Did you think about that?" So
Yeah.
I appreciate you including that.
Of course. Of course. So growing up, and this probably explains some of me as well. So there's a cemetery right next to my neighborhood growing up, and I was never afraid of the cemetery. It was never a place that freaked me out. My dad and that dad would always take me out, and we'd go out there to go stargazing. He always had telescopes. He always had telescopes, and so we would always go out there and look at the stars, look at Saturn, Jupiter, all the planets that we could see, and it was peaceful, and even my dad would say, "Well, son," said, "nothing." He said, "Ghosts aren't going to mess with you in the cemetery." He said, "They're sleeping. You're good." Okay, except except this one night, me and a couple of buddies of mine. I'm probably 15, 16, and so me and a couple of buddies of mine are out there just kind of looking at the stars, talking, kind of looking at some of the statues, 'cause there are some pretty cool statues in the cemetery. And so we're just kind of, not goofing around, just kind of talking and that kind of stuff. And I look up, and right next to the pathway, we're not the road, but the kind of the path that you can drive on in the cemetery. Right next to that, between that and a headstone, is a door-shaped portal. It was just a black, solid black portal that was in the shape of a door. And all I could say was, "Hey, guys, look there, look at the door. There's a door." Pointed it out, and me and one of my buddies were like, "No, we're out of here. Come on, let's go." My other friend, he decided that he thought it'd be really cool to check it out, see where it went. I ran up and grabbed him by the back of the shirt, by the collar, and we noped out of there so quickly. Hopped in his car, and we were back in my house in like 5 minutes. It was it was just weird. To this day, I still don't know what it was, but it was darker than everything around, and it was that pitch black, tall, rectangular portal. Looking back, it looked kind of like the monolith from 2001.
Mm. How far away was it?
It was like, I mean, it was on the ground, probably a good 20 yards.
That's pretty close.
And
I can see
yeah,
where the
so very
other.
close.
So
Yeah,
the other two, all of you saw it. The other two just noped out immediately.
no, I saw it. All of us saw it. Myself and my friend Jeremy, we noped out,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
buddy
but
was
the first
trying.
two, they weren't trying to go see they were like bye bye, and then so
Yeah, oh yeah,
Jeremy's the one that's like, let's go to another dimension, and you're like,
yeah. Nope, nope, nope. Not on my watch. I know your mama, and she's gonna kill me. So no, let's go.
So it was still there when you guys left.
Oh yeah, oh absolutely. It wasn't moving.
And then you guys are
Oh,
stargazing, so it's not like you got to watch it either pop into existence or fade into existence. It's like you
mm-mm.
looked up and you noticed it was there.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a weird one. I like that one.
Yeah, that one was bizarre.
I would love to see that, but I would also not try to go stick a hand in it or anything.
No, me neither. I was like, nah, that's really cool. Part of me was like, this is scaring the heck out of me. And the other part of me was like, okay, this is cool. I'm not going to go in it, but I am going to look at it for a minute.
Did you guys discuss it the next day or any time afterward?
No, no. We were like, did that really just happen? Only I think I remember like the next day it was like, hey, did you see what I think you saw? Did that really just happen? And they're like, yeah, but we're not going to speak of it ever again. This is like Fight
Mm.
Club, you know.
It was definitely like Fight Club.
Yeah.
But at least everyone saw it. You know, if you were alone
Yeah.
and seeing that, it sucks. It
Mhm.
sucks to be the only one.
Yeah. But no, all three of us saw it, and we're like, yeah, we're not going to talk of this again. But yeah.
Did you ever go back into that graveyard in order to stargaze?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. That didn't stop me from doing it. Oh yeah, sure did. In fact, my dad's buried out there, so I definitely am returned to that cemetery.
Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
And
I've got some cool stories about him too, so it's good.
yeah, I did see some on the list. Have you ever come across anything online or ever heard whispers of things going on in that graveyard?
No, but I haven't really looked into it. I will though. I will definitely start doing that because that will be interesting.
Well, yeah, let's jump to the beach in Panama City.
Oh yeah. So this was fun. So yeah, so where I grew up in West Alabama, everybody goes to Panama City or Gulf Shores, you know, and we'd always go to Panama City. And so one night, me and some friends, so one night we're out there with some buddies and some friends, and we're just kind of hanging out at the beach, hanging out on the beach. And we look up and we see what I thought was lightning at first. You know how like whenever you're on the beach and you're watching a storm way off on the horizon, that's what I thought it was at first. But we're all just kind of sitting down on the beach, just chilling out, having a good time. And so my girlfriend at the time, she and I are like looking at this, and there was like this big orange flash of light. And she's like, I'm gonna flash these big flashlights at it. And so we did, and it flashed back. And we're all like, that's cool. What? So she flashed her flashlight again, and like twice, and it repeated twice. So I'm going full on Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Let's start playing some music out there. But yeah, so we did that, and it matched it like two different times, like communicating with it. Then I guess they had to go. I don't know, but I guess like, all right, time to go. And and the light just shot straight up out of sight.
Now, had any of those folks had a UFO encounter of any kind, or were you the only one before this?
Um, my girlfriend at the time had seen lights in the sky before, but nothing like that. No.
So this next section, it
But
seems like things really ramp up and take a turn, and something really takes notice of you and your family. So this seems
Mhm.
like a big portion here.
Okay, yeah, and I've noticed that it was just like there was like because in college nothing really ever from like 92 to 2006 there was nothing really even that I can remember. And so in 2006 we're living in Panama City and or just north of Panama City, and I have a he's probably one I think maybe two at the time, but he and I are just sitting in the den rolling a ball to each other. He is about two at this time, and we're rolling a ball to each other and just kind of how father and son kind of play with the ball and stuff. And we're sitting there, and my back is to the uh, the front door, and so he's facing the front door. Our dog at the time is just kind of hanging out with us in the den. And we're just playing around like that. And all of a sudden, he goes from being a cool, chilling out 2-year old into full blown, what the is this, dad moment, full blown panic. He just starts saying, "Lights, daddy, look at the lights, look at the lights." And not like, "Hey, dad, that's cool, but dad, there's like scary lights out there behind you." And pointing, and he's pointing directly behind me. Our dog at the time, like I said, was sitting next to me, and him kind of, freaking out. Go, "Okay, Sean, dude, I'll turn around. Just hang on a minute." That part's like, "Okay, well, you're also too, maybe it's a car because we lived in a cul-de-sac. Maybe it's a car driving by and the lights are reflecting." I wasn't sure. Except our dog at the time started growling and barking at something in that direction. And that's when, the hair on the back of my neck started standing straight up. I got that cold shiver down my spine. I thought for sure if I turned around, I would see either a UFO or the ghost librarian from Ghostbusters, something. But when kind of like Hollywood movie style, when you turn slowly around, but there's nothing, absolutely nothing. But they're still freaking out. And so that's when I was like, all right, I'm on it. I got to do something. So I just said out loud, "Hey, whatever's here, whoever's here, show yourself. Let me see you. Show me a sign of your presence. Show me what's going on." And a shadow darted, darted from wherever they were. A shadow figure just hauled it, darted towards the other end of the house.
And then it also says here that you guys, that wasn't the end of it though, because it sounds like for years afterward, you
Hmm.
would see the shadow figure and then you guys had items go missing.
Yeah. Yes. So that's the only time I can ever remember having sleep paralysis ever within that house. And I don't recommend sleep paralysis for anybody at all. But yeah, so we would get up and I would see this same shadow figure move into go from one room to the next. I remember this one night when I woke up with sleep paralysis around 3 o'clock in the morning. There was this, what I call the old hag figure. I've heard other people talk about. Yeah, standing next to me, and I just started praying and praying and praying the Lord's Prayer over and over and over, and she finally went away. But yeah, so a lot of shadow figure, like I said, the old hag, sleep paralysis, and then like my keys would go missing. I knew exactly where I put the keys every time, and they would go missing. So some and then it got to be where we would say, "Hey, whoever you are, I need my keys because I gotta go to work," you know, and they would show up. Um,
Where would they show back up?
Usually somewhere else in the house.
Like somewhere silly that you never put them
Yeah,
there.
no, like in the fridge or on top of the
Oh,
refrigerator.
jeez.
Yeah, and I was like,
Wow.
"Y'all, yeah," I was like, "Whoever you are, stop. All right, just stop." But it never did. And then, so we finally were like, after like 5 years, I mean, and we were like, "Nope, we're out, we're done." But it was never poltergeist. I mean, other than those couple of like, all right, sleep paralysis is bad, but it was never like poltergeist type stuff. Nothing ever was like thrown across the room or anything. There were footsteps that we would hear knocking occasionally. I swear, a couple of times I would see a face in the mirror in the bathroom.
Mm. Like next to your face
Oh,
or
yeah,
behind you, something like
yeah,
that. Mm-hmm.
yeah, like either next to it or above it or something.
Brian,
I was
you know
like,
you're
yeah,
not
that
supposed to do Bloody Mary in the bathroom, you know? It really works. No,
it
that
really does.
really
And
though, that's not fun at all. Did your
mm-mm.
did your son ever sleepwalk? Did he have sleep paralysis?
Sleep paralysis? I don't think so. He did sleepwalk. I did catch him sleepwalking a couple of times.
So I bet in your head you're going, "Uh-oh, I know about this." Did you start to say we need to put baby gates up, and did it freak you out
Oh
a
yeah,
little
we had
bit?
baby. Yeah, yeah. It kind of started getting me going. Nope, nope, nope. We're not doing this.
Yeah, I bet.
Nope. Yeah, because like I said, I've followed the UFO stuff for a while, and yeah, and I've read about families that deal with that, and I'm like, nope, I don't want that to be me. So,
Can you describe the shadow figure to the best of your ability?
yeah, just tall. It was like a tall, black, wispy type shadow. Yeah, I mean, it was just kind of a like a black mist. A couple times it's been a black mist. The one time that I'm thinking of in particular, it was a person sized, two-legged shadow. I didn't see legs, but just that style, like a light black mist, just going right down the hall.
And it would always look the same each time you would see it?
Yeah.
Was it usually out of the corner of your eye type of a thing, though?
Most of the time it was. Most of the time it was. A couple of times I saw something head on, just like straight on, going out the front door.
Ah. To the
But yeah, most
black
of the times
portal,
it was like,
obviously.
yeah, really, yeah,
Sorry, most of the time
the
it was
portal
what?
from the cemetery, the portal from the cemetery.
Yeah. It all ties in. No, I'm
No,
just kidding. So
yeah.
okay, so were you the only one that could see this shadow figure? Who else in the house would see this?
No, my son did too, and the dog.
Yeah, the dog reacting is a big part of it. And
Hmm.
I would like to touch on the dog a little bit. So the dog during
Yeah, sure.
the initial, it seems, inception of all of this, with your son being terrified out of just nowhere when you guys are just playing, and then the dog reacting to
Mhm.
it is big. You can't just
Yeah.
discount all that stuff and say that that is a coincidence. So, because then it kicks off all this activity. How many other times, or are there certain rooms the dog won't go in? Other times the dog is growling at the wall or a corner or anything like that?
Um, Looking back, probably the guest room. Yeah, the guest room, the dogs really didn't like going in. I wasn't a huge fan of the guest room, but I mean, it's the guest room. You got to use it for stuff. But yeah, the dogs would never really want to go in the guest room. Every now and then they would just start barking or growling at one spot in the den. And at first we thought, well, there's probably, I hate to say a mouse on the wall, but it's probably something like that. No. So yes, there are definitely some spots like that. I would feel a cold spot in the closet every now and then in the bedroom.
Prior to this inception incident, we'll call it, did you already have a weird feeling about the guest room or the den?
The den, no. The guest room, yeah, the guest room always felt a little heavy.
Hmm. So maybe it was always just there. Maybe that wasn't the inception event. Maybe that was just
Mhm.
it came to be more powerful or more noticeable for some reason,
Mhm.
and then it just felt like it had to show itself to your son. I don't that which is horrible, by the way.
Yeah, yeah. And I've always heard that kids can set stuff off. Not intentionally, but just having a kid, especially in a house like that, can kind of set stuff off, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, and things seem to be quite attracted to them in the way that their brains are just a little bit more
Mhm.
malleable and open to things. Just like when you were younger, you were having quite a bit of
Yeah,
strange things going down. Did your
yeah.
son, so he didn't have any sleep paralysis that you know, but did he seem freaked out in the house after that? I know he's very young, so he, as time goes
Mhm.
on, he would have just forgotten that. But were there ongoing things with your son where he was uncomfortable?
Not that I can remember.
Well, that's
Not that I
good.
can remember.
So it was just that
Yeah.
kind of one and done for him, at least.
Yes.
Well, that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. he's pretty resilient.
Yeah, kids definitely are, thank goodness. For
Hmm.
the most part, kids are pretty dang good at bouncing back and just up in the gray matter, out of the gray matter.
Exactly.
For the
Exactly.
most part, not for all things, of course. That is not a blanket
Hmm.
statement in any way, shape, or form. So you would have sleep paralysis in this house. How many times did that happen, and how many times did you see the shadow figure
I probably saw that shadow figure off and on about 7 or 8 times
in the three
that I can
years you said?
remember. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I remember sleep paralysis once, maybe twice, but definitely once.
Did you have any, and I'm sure it would be in your list, I suppose, but did you see any UFOs or any activity like that while you were in that house?
No, not that I remember. Not in that house. No.
All right, so let's move to 2016. It's another
Mhm.
event that occurs while you're stargazing.
Yeah, this was cool. So yeah, we move out to the country after we leave the house, and come to find out, about a week after we move out, one of my neighbors tells me, "Oh yeah, did they not tell you that the lady who used to own the house died in the house?"
Oh.
Great. Now we okay.
You're like, aren't they
Great.
supposed to tell us that before we move in?
Yeah, right. So yeah, good to know. But yeah, so we moved way out to the country, and absolutely loving it out there. It's great. It's my son finds some, meets some good friends where he plays outside way more than he plays video games. He and his buddies are outside, almost 24/7 when they can. So that's always that's great. I'm thrilled about that. But one night, I'm just outside. I let the dogs out. I was bringing them back inside, and I was just stargazing. I was looking up the stars in the sky, and I just look up and I see this light. I don't know. It was maybe a little bit brighter than Venus. It wasn't Venus, but it was about that brightness. And it's hauling. I mean, it is moving fast across the sky. Distance wise, I'm thinking 20,000 feet, maybe. I can't see a shape. All I just see is this bright light, and it's moving pretty fast. And then solid light, not blinking. It's going from the west to the east, and then it makes a 90-degree turn to the left. It doesn't slow down. It doesn't stop, because I'm thinking it's probably just a satellite or something, maybe. Um, but it was like it can't be an airplane because there's no flashing lights on it. But then it just does this 90-degree hard left turn without slowing down at all, and it basically, what I say, it hits warp speed. I mean, it just goes exponentially fast after that, like out of sight. Yeah. And then within a couple of minutes, there was another light that came right behind it, but it looked like it would have been a satellite, and it faded out. Then it came back in, and it faded back out again. And I was talking to a friend of mine about it, and he had suggested, and I agreed, it was probably the International Space Station or a satellite. So that one I could definitely write off as that's an identified explained object. But that first one, I have no clue what it was, because I'm thinking, if you're moving that fast, around 20,000, because it was lower than what airplanes are normally at, and but I mean, it turned hard left without slowing down. I was like, that's not, no, that's not normal. I mean, it could have been a tic tac. I don't know.
Yeah, that's when you start thinking if there is a human body in there, it's ripped to absolute shreds.
It's Jello. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That one was that was really cool. I mean, it was incredibly cool. But yeah, that was in Panama City. And granted, I mean, I know we have, and I'm used to hearing, and because there's Tyndall Air Force bases in Panama City, so I'm used to fighter jets. I'm used to cargo jets and military aircraft flying all hours of the day and night, and they're loud. You can hear them coming, and when they leave, there was no sound. It was nothing. It was really cool, but it was also like, all right, that's you're not going to land. That's good, but keep on going straight. Just keep on going.
Yeah, you may not want to call that one in, you know?
No.
Whatever's aboard there.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not going to pull a. I forgot the guy's name now. That does the. I'm not going to pull a Jake Barber and try to call you down. You keep
Yeah.
going.
Yeah. You go on home now.
Yeah, really. And yeah, and so then moving on into so the next year we moved from Panama City to where we are now in Tallahassee. So we're living kind of in the country, and so we now have a new German Shepherd named Luna. We're walking, and we're still living in the country, kind of in the woods, in a woodsy area. And I'm just kind of walking her up the road, and something large. I'm assuming a deer. That's what I've just constantly told myself. Uh, ran right behind us, like we passed by, like we passed, as we were walking straight. This thing just, as soon as we passed, as soon as we went, it ran. I could feel the wind from it on my back as it ran into the woods. I'm assuming it was a deer. That's what I'm telling myself.
Yeah, some of those things can sound pretty loud, but if you feel like it was on two legs, then maybe it was something else.
Maybe. But a couple of nights later, Luna and I are going down the same path, and this is where I'm thinking, maybe because I've heard stories, I've heard people on your show and others talk about fairies and the fae, and this is like, maybe there's a basically it was the largest firefly or lightning bug I've ever seen in my life, and it was about the size of like a bluebird, and there were little like normal size lightning bugs kind of fluttering around it. I mean, and I was thinking that is weird. I wasn't scared. It wasn't. Luna wasn't even paying attention. If she was like, okay, whatever. I mean, I wasn't worried or there was no fear. It was more of a, what in the world is that? And I grew up, seeing fireflies. This was not a firefly. It was like a bird shaped something that was glowing.
Yeah, that's a weird
was-
one in a good way. I don't quite know what to make of
Yeah.
that, which is good. I like those kinds of stories. It reminds me, not exactly, of course, it's different, but when Sam Sheeran saw the grasshopper, the huge grasshopper with a human face, and you're like, what the actual hell?
Yeah.
What? I mean, so
Yeah.
you saw this and instantly you said that in your head. You're like, this is not normal. What the hell?
No. Yeah. This is not. No, I didn't think Tinkerbell existed, but Peter Pan, you around? But it was like really, really cool to watch. And of course, I didn't have my phone with me. But yeah, so it was just kind of cool. And this is also the house where I saw this. I was outside one day, probably taking the trash out, and this huge white owl. Now I'm telling myself this is an owl. This is an owl. This is an owl. Was off in the distance, probably about 30 yards from me in this field. And there was a field behind the house. This owl just kind of was standing there, standing there staring at me. And it was just like, what, why? No, you're an owl. You know, and I think you know where I'm going with that.
Yeah, because unfortunately, everyone out there is going, it's not an owl, just like in The Fourth Kind, but,
Yes.
unfortunate
And
that's where our brains go, but it does. And how large is large? Could you tell? An estimate?
no, I couldn't tell. I mean, it was probably, so its head was about probably about 3.5 or 4 feet off the ground because he was in like a patch of of tall grass, and that tall grass was probably about 2.5 feet tall, and its head was about a foot taller. Was about a foot over that because I saw his head and the front of his body. So it was about a 3.5 foot, you know. And I was going, that's got to be, please, please, you know. And it was like it was just watching me, like, hey, I'm here. I know where you are. And then it dipped down, and I didn't see it fly off.
I mean, I'm seeing where I just Googled this. It says snowy owls can grow 20 to 27 inches tall. Where is, forget inches. Where did I just see that? Okay. Yeah. Wingspans of 5 feet. They're giving us like kilograms and stuff. Come on now. Give me
Right.
give me the, I mean 27 inches tall is not what you just described.
No.
That's not that tall. And that's a snowy owl. A snowy owl is in the Arctic. You're not in the Arctic.
Yeah. No, I'm in like North Florida.
Sorry, I'm very curious.
No, you're
because
good.
I'm not what is it, an ornithologist? I love birds, but I don't know right off the bat. Okay. Largest species in Florida is the great horned owl. Measure between 18 to 25 inches in height. So,
Yeah.
again, that doesn't sound like what you saw. And yours is white.
No.
All white.
Yeah.
So, like, really white, right? Not speckled
Yeah.
or...
Yeah.
Interesting.
It would have looked more like you said, like that snow owl.
Yeah.
But Florida,
I mean, hey, could one have escaped from somebody's private collection? And it's like on Dumb and Dumber, they have these snow owls, whatever the hell, they're keeping. But sure, that's possible. But that was a big owl that you saw.
Yeah.
So it's
yeah.
weird.
And it was
Little
not
weird.
flapping its wings to stay up. It was like, I'm up here and I'm going to go down.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to, and I was like, that's weird. That's not normal. Yeah.
I mean, and this, the second you start mentioning owls, and then we've already talked about UFOs and all kinds of lights and shadow figures and all this stuff. I mean, the second anybody starts mentioning that, I start thinking about Mike Cleland, and the messengers and all of that. So, because it is so much deeper than just owls and missing time and crafts. There's so much more to that stuff, and it's fascinating and it's scary, and it can be wonderful sometimes, but it's a lot.
Yeah, and his book, and because I've heard him, I think on your show and others, and I'm going, could you stop, please, talking about that, Mike?
Yeah,
Go to
because
something else.
some of it gets so dark so quickly and so invasive. Those types of, entities, I guess is a good word. They don't have boundaries, so kind of rude, a little bit rude.
Yeah.
And it's not always this beautiful light and love experience for folks. It's just not.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, if you don't mind me moving forward a little bit more.
Yeah,
there were a
of
couple things
course.
I don't know if I'd mentioned. There was, within the last probably 6 months. Yeah. Within the last about 6 to 8 months, my dreams have gotten I've had some really weird dreams. One of which was I dreamed that I was remote viewing, and in the dream I was remote viewing something, and these two tall yellowish skinned figures wearing a cloak were working on a console, and they turned around and looked at me. And in my head, I heard and in my head, I thought, oh shit, they can see me. They know I'm here. And I woke up. And something, I don't know, it's weird just because something tells me that wasn't a dream. It was just one of those one offs that, like, I don't even know how to remote view. I think it's really interesting. If the CIA is listening, hey, sure, I wouldn't mind a part-time job.
You're like, train me. I mean, that was going to be one of my questions. Have you ever then thought about, because you're obviously sensitive and things seem to you kind of are like the flame and they're the moths, right? So have you ever thought about picking that up? Maybe not picking it
Oh,
up. It's a big deal. It's a long
but
training process, but starting that, some people are more apt to it
yeah,
than others.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's something that I would. I mean, I'm interested in pursuing at some point. I just think it's kind of cool, you know.
Oh, it's really cool.
Um,
It's fascinating.
yeah, because I mean, I've read stories and I've listened and I've read stuff about the CIA stuff and Joe McMoneagle and all that, and it's
Yes.
amazing to me how you're given just coordinates and all of a sudden you can go there and oh yeah, by the way, this is on Mars. Wait, what? You know, it's incredible to me that and if it didn't work, the CIA wouldn't have done it for so long if they're not still doing it now.
Yeah, I listened to Joe and some of his compadres they've been
Mhm.
on the Sean Ryan show, and I eat that stuff right
Yeah.
up. That's pretty incredible. What was it, a sub or something that had not, no one even knew about this is Russian sub, I think. Don't quote
Yes.
me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And he
Yes.
drew the damn thing before it was even out of wherever they build it in dry dock or whatever the hell it was. It was a
Hmm.
top secret Russian thing, and he's like, let me just draw this for you. And you're like, what the hell?
Hmm.
Amazing, incredible. Yeah, I mean, really, Brian, maybe you should go down that route.
Yeah. I mean, it couldn't hurt.
Have you thought
And
about doing any kind of, and this is always an area of contention. It's a four-letter word essentially to some people, but some kind of a hypnosis to see if you could recall what was going on during your sleepwalking sessions and why you were so terrified of being home alone when you were younger. Was there missing time that you don't even know that you had?
um, yeah. So I read. Oh, I think it's right in front of me. So my therapist recommended I read Many Lives, Many Masters.
Mm.
It's by Brian Weiss. I think something Weiss. Brian Weiss, something Weiss, but it's about past lives. And he is a psychiatrist in Miami that was a complete skeptic, didn't believe in any of that until he had a client or a patient that he did hypnosis on, and she had, and then like, and then for about what 1 to 2 years, he was documenting all of her past lives. Incredible book. I've become kind of a believer in past lives now, so yes, I would love to delve into that and do some regression into that because I'd love to know more about why have I been, why was I scared, like petrified
Yeah.
as a kid
Is
and
there
panicked for
a
the,
hesitancy though? What might come out? Do you really want to know?
yeah, the sleepwalking, honestly, no. To know if there's like past life stuff, yeah, absolutely.
The past life stuff would be fine and cool and
Yeah,
amazing. But when
yeah.
you're still in this one and you
Hmm.
still have memories of possibly maybe dark stuff that's going on, and your brain said, Brian, you don't want to deal with this, buddy. I'm going to lock this up in a dark little space in your
Yeah,
gray matter. And you're like, nope, going to pry that door open. That's when,
yeah.
it could go either way.
It could go either way. I am hesitant about that one, but I mean, I might still do it, but I don't know.
I probably would too, to be honest with you. If I had any
Yeah,
weird stuff in
yeah.
my childhood, I might be like, screw it. I want to know.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm still here, so obviously they haven't taken too much if I'm still here. So it might just be something that I need to unlock. I don't know.
So this ties right in with that, essentially what we're going to call a dream. We don't know, remote viewing dream of the beings at their little computer area is
Mhm.
you got up around 2:30 in the morning. Talk about that.
Yeah, yes, thank you. I forgot about that. This was weird. And I mean, I still don't know what the hell this was. I got up around 2:30, supposedly to let the dogs out. And I'm letting them out. So I'm walking with them. I walk out the back door on our screened-in back porch. As I'm opening the door, the back porch screen door thing, they go outside, and I hear a voice in my head that's not mine. It's not me. It's not my internal voice saying, dude, what are you doing up this late? Come on, go back to bed. No, it's not that. It's not my voice, and it says, Brian, it's time to go home. And I said out loud, I said, what? No, I am home. This is no, I'm home. And for some reason, something just said, what the hell was that? And I ran down the steps, looked all around, expecting to see some craft or something. I didn't see anything, but yeah, that was really weird. And I don't know what that was. I don't know if that was a wrong number, you know. Maybe some other thing was trying to reach a neighbor. I don't know, and got me by mistake. Um,
I like that description. That is amazing. They got the wrong number.
yeah,
Probably
and
not though, considering your history, Brian. I'm
no,
just gonna say,
yeah, yeah. And that was. I don't want to say that's a one. I want to say that's a one-off, but I don't think it was.
yeah, because the whole "it's
And
time to go
then
home" is probably the big picture home. It's time to go. I don't know, but
mhm. And if so, no, I'm good right now. Uh,
you're like, not yet.
Not yet. I mean, I'm an emergency manager. I'd like to enjoy one hurricane season without a storm.
Yeah.
Um, and then one other quick thing, and then you can ask me whatever too. I don't. That's fine with me. But I remember a few nights later, and I'd probably just watched Ryan's show on YouTube and stuff. I'm outside, and I don't even say it out loud. I just think it. Hey, if there's hey, if any of y'all want to just kind of show up, I hadn't seen y'all in a while, seen a UFO or anything in a while. If any of y'all just kind of want to show up and say hi, don't need to be probed or anything, just want to pop in and say hi, that would be really cool. And I've heard, and I watch Dave Schrader and his Paranormal 60 team, every week. And he's talked about, hey, speaking that into existence and seeing what happens. So I did. I thought it, and then that night I have the weirdest freaking dream. I'm out in the dream. I'm outside, and I'm outside on the other side of the house, and there's other people around me. I don't know who they are, and a ship, like a flying saucer, comes flying down through clouds, lands, and a bunny rabbit gets out. And I hand him a piece of paper. He takes it and he gets in the ship and flies away. Like I said, really weird, but I had just thought that and put that out there earlier that night.
Have you ever been drawn to go outside? Like you're in the house. What at any
Hmm.
point in your life, you're in the house and you go,
Yeah.
I have to go outside and look up.
Yeah. Every now and then that'll happen.
Do you see anything when that happens?
No.
Mm.
Not that I can remember. Now, that being said, not that I can remember. And there have been, thinking and talking about this and thinking it out loud. There have been a couple of times when I've been driving on the way home, and I just have, and there's just driving on the way home, and there's a couple of spots on some of the back roads that I take when I'm driving for work, and I want to avoid the interstates because this is Florida, and our interstate system, it's either 90 miles an hour or you're stopped in traffic jams. So I'm just taking back roads. And there's a couple of different spots along this one stretch of highway where I have felt just a strong pull to pull off on the side of the road and go walk through the woods. I did once, and I got like about 5 or 6 feet into the little path, and I could hear David Paulides' voice in my head saying, "Get your ass back in the car." This is how missing 411 happens.
Was this daytime or
And
nighttime?
daytime. Oh, completely dusk, actually.
Mm.
And fortunately, I was like, yeah, it's like a snack. It's like just I've watched some of this. I've read a couple of his books and seen a couple of the documentaries, and just that was playing in my head, and it snapped me out of it. It's like I don't say I was in a trance, but I was like just zoned out. And sure enough, I was like, wait, what am I doing? No, 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 no.
So what
And
was,
I
do you
just,
recall being in your head and going, oh, the end game would be to find a cool stream or a rock or a pine cut? What, do you remember there being a point to it, or you just remember having this pull to do it?
a pull to do it and having an encounter.
An encounter with what?
I
With
don't know.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow. So
yeah.
how many times did that happen? How many times did you have that feeling?
Uh, honestly, I still do when I go down that when I'm driving down that stretch of road.
Oh, it's that same
Um,
stretch of road.
I
This
don't.
happens each time.
hmm
Hmm.
And I don't stop. When, yeah, nope.
Well, you did once.
Um, I did once. Yeah, yeah.
So it's
And
the same stretch of road. It's happened like 3 times, 4 times, including the time you got
that
out.
four. I say four times.
And
And
each
there's been a couple
time,
times.
sorry, no, you go.
No, I was gonna. And there's a couple of times in the woods in our neighborhood where I've been pulled to just go back there. And I thought, well, I'm going to take one of my German shepherds just for protection. And I haven't, but it was just there's just a pull there. And growing up, I spent so much time in the woods behind my house.
But each time this pull includes the feeling that you want to have an encounter with something.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And sometimes it's a pull, and sometimes it's just a thought of, hey, maybe I should go in the wood. No, let's not go in the woods right now. You know, Kickoff starts in like 30 minutes, or whatever.
Except for the fact that for the most part, it's down a same stretch of road. Does it hit in the same area?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's weird.
hmm and it's in kind of a north central Florida stretch. Yeah, it's just really weird.
You know that's Bigfoot calling to you. I mean, rather, sorry, skunk ape.
Oh Lord.
Let me term it properly. Bigfoot's like, let's go, Bryan. No, but honestly, I'm not downplaying that. That is very, very strange to have that happen in that same exact spot. And of course, the morbid side of my brain wants to go, man, you totally need to just haul ass through the woods and see what's doing because something's going on. But the other half's going, no, just like what your head told you the time that you did get out. No, get back in the car.
Exactly. No.
Nobody knows
You don't want to
that
be.
you were gonna pull over there. It's not like you have GPS trackers on your body, and I mean your phone might have been on you, but you know what I'm saying. Like you don't do those kinds of things alone. Wacky things happen in the wilds, even if there's houses not too far. Weird stuff happens.
Oh yeah, I mean, freaking portals show up in a cemetery.
That's right.
Or the monolith. Yeah.
That's right. And you're like, you know what? I don't need to walk through no damn portal, whether it looks like a door or not.
I don't know where I'm going. No, I'm good.
Man, that's pretty wild, actually. When's the last time that's happened?
Oh, it's probably been about 4 or 5 months.
But is that because you haven't driven down that side road?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So now you just kind of know not to go down there because you're going to have that feeling.
Pretty much. So I usually want to take an I-75.
Yeah, whether it's stop and go or not. Have you ever been driving down that back road with someone else in the car and either did or didn't have the feeling?
If I have, I don't have the feeling when it's somebody else, when there's other people in the car.
Oh, that just sounds very nefarious to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
That's a nope.
No, exactly. Yeah.
Don't ever do that. I'll just go ahead and tell you that right now.
I won't. I'll take your advice.
Oh. All right, so let's end this on really kind of a nice note. I love encounters like this, and it was something that happened on your back porch steps.
Yeah. Thanks. So this was cool. So one day I was walking up the back porch and I started to lose my balance. And yeah, so I'm falling backwards. It's either my dad or my grandfather basically put their hand on my back, keeping me from falling and pushed me back up. I felt a hand, legit hand, because I was not holding on to anything. Because I was like, oh crap, I'm falling. And I felt a hand push me, catch me, and push me back up. To this day, it was either my dad or my granddaddy. And I say my granddaddy because I'm staring at his pipe collection right now. He smoked pipes, and I've got a couple of other things that he had brought home from World War II. Or it very well could have been my dad just saying, dude, really? You're the klutziest person I know.
Would you have gotten quite injured had you fallen?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it would have been, yeah, I would have, yeah, it would have hurt.
In
It would have,
any amount of steps, you can kill yourself. Really, honestly, you could trip on a curb and hit your head wrong and die, of course. But
oh, yeah.
some steps are more nefarious than others. They're steep or
Mhm.
narrow, or there's 28 of them, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Like you got the Exorcist steps versus a couple of them.
Oh,
I'd rather
Lord.
fall down a couple
Yeah.
of them.
Right. And I was falling back, and I was falling backwards. And it was like, yeah,
Ugh. Yeah.
I'm gonna bust my head wide open, and that's not gonna feel good.
Good luck to your neck. Uh,
Exactly.
okay, so last question. Because a lot of times it could be haunting activity / poltergeist activity, UFO activity, missing time can follow familial lines. So, and of
Mhm.
course, it takes people sharing and talking to know. So you may not know, but maybe you heard secondhand from somebody else. I don't know. But
Mhm.
did your mom, your dad, your grandparents, did any of them have any kind of strange experiences in their lives?
I honestly don't know. I don't know. I mean, I know my grandparents would tell me stories of the Fae or of like Appalachian type cryptid stories and ghost stories because they grew up in Huntsville, North Alabama, Middle Tennessee. So I got a lot of good Appalachian ghost stories growing up.
Yeah, so that
Um,
was them sharing other people's encounters, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
but they were
it's
interested in it, obviously, which is cool.
yeah, yeah.
So, yeah,
But
it's hard to
yeah,
know. Hard to know if
mhm,
anybody had any experiences because, I mean, we were even chatting a little bit before we officially started recording that there's just some things that people will not tell anyone, and that's fine. That's understandable.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, I mean, my grandfather, my dad's dad, was a engineer with NASA and worked on, I mean, he worked with von Braun and all the Apollo and Mercury and Gemini missions, which was really cool. But maybe he knew stuff.
Mm,
I don't know.
yeah.
He may have he may have witnessed stuff. I don't know. I mean, he wasn't part of MJ12, which would have been really cool. But,
Well, to your
but
knowledge, he wasn't.
to my knowledge, yeah. I mean, geez, I mean, I don't know because he never talked about that. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know if my parents or grandparents ever had any weird stuff.
Well, was there anything else that you feel like you should add or that I should have asked you?
Uh, yeah, no, just this one time. This was just a cool thing. Well, cool for me. So we were in London on a on a working vacation, and this was in 1984. And we were in the cathedral in York, a cathedral in York, England, and I'd already been to like several that Europe trip summer. And my mom and I were talking with one of our friends who was with us and her mom, and her friend said, my mom's friend said, I got to get out of here. I just feel heaviness. I smell smoke, and I just got to get out of here. I just feel like it's heavy. Something's dark here. And Mom and I looked at her like, okay, well, yeah, sure. We've seen like eight, we've seen a lot of cathedrals this trip, so let's go. 3 weeks later, that church was struck by lightning in the spot where she was standing.
Yeah, she's highly sensitive.
Oh yeah, oh very, very. And it was just like that was just a cool thing. Like, oh, that's cool.
That is cool. She must have a lot of stories then. I'll bet.
Oh, I'm
she
sure
does.
she does.
Yeah.
I'm sure she does.
Yeah. She's the kind of gal that you're in a car and she knows before an accident is coming and she tells you to pull off or change lanes or something. You know, that's
Yeah.
what that is. She's the gal to have around.
Yes, definitely. She's the one to say, no, we're not pulling over at this spot, Brian. You're not getting out of the car.
Yeah. We're not getting on that
Yeah.
plane, whatever it might be.
No.
Well, Bryan, thank you so
Definitely
much for being willing to share. I appreciate it so much.
Oh, this is like a dream for me, man. This is huge. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Bryan. No, it is my pleasure, and I'm humbled that anyone still even wants to come on and talk to me. So thank you.
Like I said in my email, your podcast keep me company on Saturdays.